2 people have died in flash floods in Mpumalanga. The ANC turns 105 tomorrow, but it'll celebrate with deep divisions. Hello and welcome to eNEWS Direct Weekend Edition. I'm Shahan Ramkisoon. You can comment on our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at eNEWS Direct, or have a look at our content on eNCA.com/direct.
A very good evening. I'm William Lahong. You can also track our main stories using the following hashtags: flooding and ANC 105.
We start with this. 12 people have been killed in a crash on the N1 near Hammanskraal. 6 of those are children. Emergency services are on the scene. Officials say a taxi and a bakkie collided. The N1 has been closed. 2 people have died in the flash floods in Kwaggafontein and Mpumalanga. One of the deceased was apparently a passenger of a taxi which was swept away by raging waters. Heavy rains have affected an informal settlement in the area. The disaster management team will remain on site to monitor the situation.
At this stage, the fireman who went missing, his body has been recovered. Forensic pathology services have taken the body into their care. And then the person who was missing from the taxi was found earlier. And that body has also been taken into the care of the forensic pathology services. At this stage, we don't believe that there are any further people missing, although the situation will continue to be monitored. And the NSRI will more than likely be withdrawing from the scene over the next hour or so.
The ANC is holding a gala dinner tonight ahead of tomorrow's birthday celebrations. Our reporter Nicolaus Bauer is at the Sandton Convention Centre and joins us now live. Nick, appreciate your time. The gala dinner, of course, is known to host a lot of business people. Can we expect President Jacob Zuma's buddies, the Guptas, to be there?
Well, I'm not too sure about that, Shahan, but welcome our viewers to the Sandton Convention Centre. It's the place where the ANC Gala Dinner will be taking place this evening. It'll get underway in about an hour or so, and indeed the venue will be packed with businessmen, ANC party stalwarts and senior ANC members ahead of this ANC birthday celebration tomorrow. To unpack the night's festivities as well as what we can expect tomorrow, we're joined by Minister in the Presidency, but tonight he's but an ANC NEC member, Jeff Gadebe. Thank you so much for your time, Minister. Minister, what can we expect from this gala dinner this evening? I mean, it's not the first time I've attended a gala dinner, but it's certainly a chance for the ANC to rub shoulders with the who's who of the business world.
Yes, indeed. As you know, this is a celebratory dinner for the ANC. It's going to be addressed by our president. There are many stakeholders, business people, religious community, other important personalities in South African society, but more importantly, also members and stalwarts of the organization and volunteers, to thank them for all the work they do for the organization, and of course to also fundraise for the ANC, because we're a very big organization with huge task and responsibility. So we require the resources in order to push this huge machinery of the ANC.
Some would argue it goes without saying, but the question still needs to be asked. I mean, these engagements with the business world, the fraternizing of the ANC with the business leaders at these gala dinners, it doesn't ensure that businesses are privy to government contracts and that sort of thing?
Well, no, that's not a precondition, because every South African citizen, including business people, they have a choice to support any political party of their choosing, including the ANC. So their being here is not a guarantee that they're going to get work from the government. But of course, business people, they always canvass for their work, but our procurement procedures in government are the one that have to determine whether any business people are able to get those contracts.
Minister, let's talk about tomorrow. The weather's not playing its role, it would seem. I mean, there was torrential rain around Gauteng today, rain expected tomorrow. What are the plans and perhaps the precautions being taken tomorrow to ensure that you will still have a successful event?
Well, in Africa, rain is a very good omen, so we are very grateful that the rain is coming to our country in the context of the huge drought that we've been experiencing in South Africa. So it's part of a celebration, but I do hope that at the moment when the official program is ongoing, that maybe the rain should not be there, but the rain, I must emphasize, is a very good omen. That means the ancestors of the ANC are still with us.
Lastly, Minister, something else that's stormy at this point in time is relations within the ANC. Some arguing that ahead of the National Elective Conference at the end of the year, emotions are running high, there's divisions being sown. What are you expecting from the President in this address tomorrow? It's an address that's crafted by the National Executive Committee. Do you think that the address will be able to work towards dealing with some of the issues that the ANC is facing at the moment?
Well, the statement of the NEC that is going to be delivered by the President is going to be outlining the broad parameters under which 2017 is going to be unfolding. As you know, we're celebrating the centenary of one of the greatest leaders that South Africa has ever produced, Oliver Reginald Tambo. So the issues of unity, I believe, will feature very prominently in the President's speech. Issues around the economy, jobs, fighting crime and corruption, but also to ensure that we as South Africans, we have our common heritage as South Africans. We need to protect our national interest.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Minister in the Presidency, Jeff Gedebe, thank you so much for joining us. We'll join you throughout the evening on eNCA, DSTV 403, but for now, our Prime viewers, back to you.
All right, thanks very much. Our reporter Nicolaus Bauer there in Sandton. Let's give this more context. The ANC's January 8 statement has a long and proud history. When the tradition started 45 years ago, it was meant as a call to action while the party was banned. The address offers an opportunity for the ANC to outline its program for the year.
Tonight, to the people of South Africa, I think
Oliver Tambo delivered the first January 8 statement in 1972, an opportunity to speak to the organization's focus for the year ahead.
And our fondest wish is that we should create in South Africa a society in which white or black has no significance.
It takes place on the ANC's birthday, marking its founding in Bloemfontein in 1912.
It was initiated on the basis that the ANC was an underground movement, so it couldn't ordinarily communicate with its structures at any given moment. So they needed this specific historical dates in the annual calendar to communicate a call to action.
But much has changed since then, and the ANC is no longer the organization it once was. The former liberation movement is now in government, after capturing South Africa's first democratic election in 1994. But January 8 still remains a big day in the South African political calendar, as it previews what the African National Congress wants to do in the year ahead, offering a sneak peek into possible changes in policy direction.
It continues to serve the purpose of focusing the collective mind of the ANC on issues that we would have gone through in the previous year, what successes, how far we've gone in implementing issues according to the dictates of the previous statement.
Unity in action, working together, mass mobilization and renewal are popular themes that have historically dictated the January 8 statement. But after a bruising political year in 2016, which saw the loss of key metros in local government elections, the Nkandla scandal and divisions within the party, what will this year's statement hold? The address is crafted by the entire National Executive Committee of the ANC and delivered by the President.
I will be looking out for the extent to which President Zuma actually sticks to the script, because President Zuma's leadership is being challenged in the African National Congress at every level of the organization, from the NEC to branches to the parliamentary caucus.
President Jacob Zuma's ninth and possibly last January 8 statement will be delivered on Sunday at Orlando Stadium. Nicolaus Bauer, Johannesburg.
Expect to pay more for meat as prices are likely to soar, but economists and farmers say it won't last that long. They predict food costs could fall later this year.
The smell of rain is in the air. It's soaking into farmlands across the central and eastern part of the country. Sustained rainfall is expected over the next 2 weeks. Experts say it could sharply reduce food prices later this year. It's not only good news for South African consumers, but also the entire SADC region.
Because, for example, you take the overall SADC countries and you look at the maize production in there, about 42% of the SADC maize production is produced by South Africa. And if you strip South Africa out and you leave the other SADC member states to say on their maize imports, where do they import their maize? About 70% of their maize imports usually comes from South Africa. So if South Africa sees a little bit of a recovery, the whole region benefits.
Despite a tough economic climate ahead, easing drought conditions will slow down food price inflation. But meat prices are still set to rise. Last year, farmers slaughtered more than 16,000 head of cattle per week. This year, it'll be a different story.
But this year now, with the rainfall and the velds recovering, you're likely to see a reverse of that, where farmers will start now to slaughter less and rebuilding their stock. And the critical thing about meat is because if you take the food inflation basket and you weight everything in there, meat constitutes about 30% of that basket.
While consumers might get a reprieve with cheaper food prices, economists say many are still unwilling to spend money on so-called big-ticket items like furniture, appliances and electric goods. John Bailey, Pretoria.
Further afield now, hundreds of Ghanaians attended the inauguration of their new president. The swearing-in ceremony took place in Accra amid tight security. Nana Akufo-Addo is now Ghana's 5th president since 1992. He's taking over from John Mahama after beating him at the polls last month. About 11 African heads of state attended the ceremony. Akufo-Addo is a former human rights lawyer turned politician. Welcome back. An art gallery in Durban is trying to attract new buyers. Every year it caps the price of paintings and portraits so that low-cost earners can purchase them.
Opening doors for everyone to experience the art world. Every year, the Durban Art Space Gallery caps the price of portraits and paintings to enable new entrants to buy art pieces.
It's affordable art. So we have a price cap of 3,500 Rand, which is supported by mostly all local artists. The idea behind it was to really make it affordable for new art buyers.
This German couple was drawn to this portrait.
I like the colors, I like the expression. It's not a friendly looking man, more skeptic, but it's touching me in a way, and I like the way it's painted.
Now the sad looking man is going to hang in one of the walls at their home in Germany. The art gallery hopes to attract more local buyers by focusing on South African related artwork. Skushangase, Durban.
Cape minstrel troupes are competing to be crowned the best of the best. Over the coming weeks, close to 50 troupes will battle it out for bragging rights. The first installment of the annual minstrel carnival competition took place at the Cape Town Stadium today.
Back at home, where the first minstrel carnival took place over 100 years ago. Cape Town Stadium in Greenpoint used to host this annual event until apartheid laws saw minstrel troupes being kicked out.
It's always been the ambition of Cape Town to return minstrelsy to its original home, where it all started on 1 January 1907, when the first organized carnival was held.
In recent times, financial constraints have kept the event from being held here. This competition takes place on weekends following the Tweede Nuwe Jaar celebrations. A panel of judges carefully scrutinizing which troupe is the best dressed, has the most innovative band, drum majors and more.
We've got trophies for every event, but the biggest trophy of all is the bragging rights that come with this. These are communities competing against each other, and this is one of the only moments during the year where our children and our communities can showcase their talent.
Troops will be out again in their numbers every weekend until month end to continue battling it out for the #1 spot. Piladis Tusa, Cape Town.
And that's your entertainment for tonight. After the break, your weather forecast with Louis.
Hello everyone. It's been a very wet day all across the Highveld, including Gauteng, and as we head into Sunday, we expect the wet weather to continue all across the northern parts of the country as tropical showers continue to move across the area, and that's going to once again bring a possibility for heavy rainfall for Gauteng and all of the surrounding areas. There'll be morning showers for KwaZulu-Natal, and in the afternoon there could be a few thunderstorms into the central parts of the country, while it's going to be a dry and warmer day all across the southern and west coasts as well as the adjacent interior. The detailed forecast shows another mostly cloudy day in KwaZulu-Natal. We certainly don't expect as much rain as there was today, and much of the rain will start clearing out as the day goes on. For the Eastern Cape, it's going to be clearer and therefore warmer over the province. There could be a few drops of early morning light rain around Mthatha as well as Port St. John's, but most areas won't see any rain at all. For the Western Cape, sunshine helps to push the temperatures up into the mid-30s, especially for the interior of the province. And in the Northern Cape, it's going to be a dry and hot day for most places. But around Kimberley, we can't rule out the possibility for 1 or 2 isolated thunderstorms. Similar conditions for Bloemfontein in the Free State, but for the northern parts of the province, there's a somewhat better chance for a few showers and storms in the area. Very wet weather in the forecast for the northwest, especially over the eastern parts of the province, where we could have heavy rain around Zeerust, Rustenburg and some of the surrounding areas. And it's going to be a mostly cloudy and cooler day all across Limpopo. Wet weather helping to keep the temperatures in the lower 20s for some places, including Polokwane. Widespread showers expected for Mpumalanga on Sunday, along with the likelihood for heavy rain all across the province. And we expect very similar conditions into Gauteng. All the cloud and rain keeping temperatures lower once again, 21 degrees for Johannesburg and Soweto. Heading into Monday, and we expect the wet weather to persist for those areas. Mahikeng at 20 degrees, Johannesburg at 21, lots of cloud and rain for the area. And heading into Tuesday, wet weather in the forecast for much of the interior of the country, while for Cape Town it's going to be sunny and very hot with a high of 33.
Here's a reminder of our top stories before we go. 2 people have died in flash floods in Mpumalanga. The ANC turns 105 tomorrow, but it'll celebrate with deep divisions. That's a wrap from the eNews Direct team. To share your views, you can send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or you can just chat to us on Twitter and Facebook at eNews Direct. Up next is your Saturday movie, The Smurfs.
Until next time, good night.